Hi, One Best We Have Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. Today is Tuesday, April 7th. This is our daily NBA show that we do with Troy West from OutPlaysWin.com. We have 6 games tonight. Troy West, thanks for being back with us.
Hey, thanks a lot, Peter. I appreciate it. Yeah, now that March Madness is over, it's kind of a sad day, but really it's time to start dialing in here on the NBA as we gear closer to the playoffs.
Yeah, well, you can definitely find some unique value at this point in the NBA season, and we have 2 games tonight that are examples of that, the Atlanta and the Golden State games, right? Both of them are basically locked into their playoff spots. Golden State has guaranteed the best record in the NBA, and Atlanta in their last game suffered a pretty significant injury to Millsap. So you got to assume that they're going to be taking it easy the rest of the way. And tonight they're a 7.5-point favorite against Phoenix. Totals right now 201.5 or 202. I kind of like the under on the overnight, which is 204. Now it's down to 201.5 or 202. Phoenix is still fighting for the playoffs. What do you think we can assume about this game? Do you think the Phoenix plus 7.5 is just a good bet just based on that factor alone?
It sure seems like it. People, Brandon Knight out again tonight for Phoenix. Phoenix has just been so inconsistent, even with the fact that they have been playing for this playoff spot for quite some time now. They've been right on the outside looking in here for quite a few weeks and haven't really put together a quality win streak. So, anytime you're playing at Atlanta, it scares me a little bit because you don't know what they're going to bring to the table. Obviously, Millsap being out is definitely a little bit of a setback. But to me, no official play for me just because both teams have been inconsistent. Atlanta's been inconsistent down the stretch. And like you said, that kind of that variable X factor of, who's going to be playing, who's going to be resting really scares me away from the line.
And then we have an almost identical situation in the Golden State game, except that Golden State's on the road. They're a 3.5 or 4-point favorite at New Orleans. New Orleans is still playing for the playoffs here. So, they're going to be going all out 100% guaranteed. Golden State, they've got the best record in the NBA locked up, although they are coming off a straight-up loss to the Spurs, so maybe that'll factor in somehow psychologically, but and the spread is lower. Do you think that New Orleans, though, plus 3.5 or 4 might be a good bet based on the exact same factor?
Exact same factor, without a doubt. I do like the fact that the stock of New Orleans is actually a lot higher than Phoenix right now. They have been playing a little bit better basketball. However, you hit it right on the nose. The thing that does scare me is Golden State coming off that thrashing of the San Antonio Spurs. I do know Golden State's locked up that one spot. Obviously, they've locked up the number 1 spot for the playoffs, but any team that goes into the playoff doesn't want to be playing bad basketball when they go in. They like to go in with a little bit of momentum. So, will they rest guys? That I don't know. Where will the motivation factor be? That I don't know. But on paper, New Orleans as a home dog looks like a pretty solid bet here, only because, like you said, they're dialed in, they're going 100%. You really don't know what you're going to get from Golden State. It would be shocking to see them play the starters, a full 48-minute game.
And then speaking of the Spurs are now 10-1 against the spread over the last 11, 16-4 against the spread over the last 20, and OKC might be wearing down a little bit with Westbrook having to do most of it himself. They're 1-5 against spread over their last 6, so just based on those two, the Spurs are looking like they're in machine mode right now, which we've seen many times over the past bunch of years where they're just a good bet game in and game out. OKC is a good team, and they're a home dog of 6 or 6.5. But the Spurs are just covering game in and game out. What's your take on that line?
Yeah, that one actually, I would lean Spurs on that as well, Pete. And a lot of great arguments made by your part. San Antonio, obviously 10-1, and they're just cruising, Pete. They look like the championship team from last year, and everybody kind of, again, ruled them out through midseason. I was one of them myself that said, well, this Spurs team's probably not on Golden State's level, but my God, this team's playing as good as anybody. And, Oklahoma City can kind of turn it up a notch at home on any given night, but the way the trends have been going the last week or two, you got to think San Antonio goes in there and wins that game by 10 points.
And then we also have a big game with playoff implications, Charlotte and Miami, and then, of course, the Lakers and Clippers rematch, which is an interesting handicapping situation. I'm not sure what I'm going to do for a pick. I might pass on the entire card, but we got 6 games. Troy, do you have a pick for us tonight?
I'm going to give one pick out, Pete, and it is going to be the San Antonio Spurs. I think the San Antonio Spurs, the way that they're playing, it just seems like a safe bet. I'm one of those guys that really likes to bet the teams with high stock and go against the teams with low stock, and this is a classic example of a team that's about as high a stock as anybody in the NBA, and Oklahoma City really on the downfall. San Antonio's just clicking right now, Pete. They look like world beaters, much like they did last year at this time. Hard to go against them when they're playing a really depleted Oklahoma City team. I like San Antonio to win that game, right around the score of about a 105 to 95 type of basketball game.
All right. Well, right now, -6 is still one of the widely available numbers. It was 5.5 on the overnight, gone up to 6 or 6.5. So Troy West from allplayswin.com just going to give us one play tonight. It's the Spurs -6. And, I think I'm going to pass. I'd love to take a shot with Phoenix and Atlanta under, but we know what Atlanta can do. If they have their offense clicking, they can easily put up 130. I was also looking at maybe, Minnesota, Sacramento under, which is 213. That's a high total right now, but I've gotten burned on Minnesota unders before recently. I still kind of like it, but not quite enough to give it as a play. So I'm going to pass. Troy West going to give San Antonio -6, and we'll be back tomorrow with the big Wednesday card. Troy West, tell us what allplayswin.com is all about. You had a good NCAA tournament in the end, right?
We did. We had a great tournament. Was sad to lose on Wisconsin, a 9-point lead blown. It would have been a 6 straight winners to finish out the tournament, but nonetheless, a fantastic tournament for us. Just one losing day. That was day one. But we're gearing up baseball, Pete. We're off to a 2-1 start in baseball. Come take a look. We're really dialed in. NBA coming up strong. Allplayswin.com. 9 years in the industry, Pete. Winning picks and the best customer service there is out there.
All right, Troy. Thanks so much. Talk to you tomorrow.